Go.
So we wanted to do a video up just to, talk about us, who we are, how we got together, and mainly talk about the impact that COVID-19 has had on our wedding, because it's been a big impact. So we met in February 2019 and hit it off really well, moved in together fairly soon thereafter, went on a really nice trip together. And when we came back, it was clear that to both of us that we wanted to spend the rest of our life together and that we wanted to start a family together. So we started planning our wedding. We even started planning our wedding before we were even engaged. I did. I had a DJ booked even before we were engaged.
On the flight on the way home, you're like, so I booked a DJ, and I was like, we're not engaged yet, though. So that's kind of weird.
I was eager, so to say the least. So we got engaged on June 30th, just before Canada Day. We went down to see some bands at Parliament Hill. And we started talking about setting a date. And we were thinking originally to get married on our anniversary of our first date, which was at the beginning of February. And that seemed like a good idea, but the more that we talked about it and thought about it, we thought if there's any sort of kind of weather, freezing rain, lots of snow, it may keep people home. They may not be interested in coming, and we have people from out of town. And it was a good thing because that weekend there was actually tons of snow. We were in Montreal celebrating our anniversary, and I think there was between 40 and 50 centimeters of snow. So
there was a lot of snow.
So it was...
And everyone knows that in the winter in Canada, nobody ever wants to go out and do anything because it's cold and shitty and dark. And yeah, on a Saturday, I don't know. Like people, it just felt like it would be a lot to ask people to like put actual clothes on and go out and do a thing. And obviously like when you've put all that like time and effort and energy into planning a wedding, it would suck if all of a sudden people just like canceled at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
Not so, good thing we dodged that bullet. Oh, wait.
Well, we realized even if we had gotten married then, it may have prevented a few people from coming, but we probably would have been on our honeymoon in like May, and if we were or March, and if we were on our honeymoon in March, then we would have been in some of the countries that were affected, and we may not have been able to come back right away, or we would have had to self-isolate or something. So
yeah, it could have been a disaster.
So
it could have also been nice though.
So as we started to plan our wedding, we set our date for May 30th because we thought it's not too hot. Hopefully there won't be any snow. Never know with Canada, but hopefully there won't be any snow. There's been snow here the last couple days.
By the end of May, it should be spring.
Yeah.
Maybe some leaves. Not smoking hot yet. Not 1,000 mosquitoes. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That should be like a really nice time.
Yeah.
Of year. Which if you're going to be doing like a lot of dancing, you don't want it to be too hot.
Yeah. And it lined up with the hall that we wanted to book, which was the McDonald's Corners Agricultural Hall, which was this nice little hall. It's about an hour from our house out in the country. And it's really, really cute place. And so we started to develop a guest list. And my side kept growing and growing and growing. And when you start to talk about feeding people and you've got that many people invited, then it can really add up to be a lot of money.
You wanted to have like 300 people, but then just not feed anyone. I was like, that's not happening.
So we cut her side of the guest list down and brought it down to 170 people-ish. So that's what we did. We sent out invitations early February, January. And we were gearing up, a couple months. We had the
everything was booked.
100-day countdown. And then damn COVID came to Canada. So that kind of threw a wrench in our plans. So
yeah, I think in March, did you say March? Yeah, in March, Ottawa got its first case. And it seemed like, it was kind of weird at the time because it was like, did the government only ever care about Ottawa? I'm sure that's not the case. But it seemed like basically right after Ottawa got its first case, the whole country basically started shutting down, and they banned gatherings of more than 50 people, and then it felt like a week later they banned gatherings of more than 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the only exception being you could have 10 people at a funeral. Which, like, having a wedding during this time is really hard, but, like, I would be so mad if any of my people died right now and we had to have only 10 people at a funeral. Like,
Yeah.
that's...
You had to pick and choose who.
That's unjust, I have to say.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. Still, yeah, I wasn't that worried about it at the beginning. I was like, you know, whatever. Like, China's already recovering. It's only been a couple of months, really, for them.
Yeah.
And, like, they didn't know what to expect or, like, how to prepare or anything like that. So I was like, by the end of May, like, we're going to have this sorted. Not even going to worry about it. Which is not like me at all. Normally, I'm like, oh, you can worry about that? Let me just jump right on board. But you were worried.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's going to be fine. Don't even worry about it. But you were right and I was wrong.
I don't think it's competition. But I was definitely worried about my work and about our wedding too. I didn't want it to mess up our plans. And
your work is definitely a legitimate concern. It turns out our wedding was a legitimate concern as well. But
yeah.
So yeah, now it's May 13th. Days of the week are really not my forte.
Yeah.
May 13th, yeah. Which means our wedding's in like
2 and a bit weeks.
Yeah, like 2 and a couple days. 2 weeks and a couple days.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks. I don't know. We did at the end of last month postpone our reception. And we made up like a really cute little postponement announcement re-invitation. I don't know what to call that. To let everyone know that, you know, we obviously had to cancel what we had planned on the 30th. And we sort of picked another date, and luckily we didn't actually have that many vendors because we were doing a lot of stuff ourselves.
And a lot of them are our friends or
Yeah.
people I've worked with in the past in the business. So.
Yeah. And we were lucky that it was actually like pretty easy for us to reschedule. We like looked at a calendar like at the last possible minute when we were like, okay, it looks like we definitely have to cancel now. And actually, like, yeah, it was actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
A lot easier than I thought it would have been to like reschedule those things for another date.
And it almost made things feel a little better when we like said like, okay, we're accepting that we can't have the reception on the 30th of May.
Yeah.
So we're gonna push it back, and then it allowed us to get a bit excited about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't thought for 1 second about the reception, but.
But I mean, that part was easy. Like, we sort of decided fairly early that we wanted to try to still get married and like not postpone actually getting married. So postponing the reception, the party part, okay, sure. But like, I guess especially like at the end of the day, we want to get married.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it's about. And, you know, it's a thing that's very like worth celebrating, but, I don't know. Like I feel even like more anxious about like actually getting married and like being married to you because of the stuff that's going on. You know, it creates so much more like uncertainty and just like everything. So also for like some, like I guess it falls into like legal reasons. You know, like if one of us were to get sick, like, I don't know, that would be a disaster. Like I just want us to be married.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, so far, I mean, as stressed as we are about the wedding, none of our family or friends or literally anybody we know, in all of the acquaintances we know, nobody has COVID. So it's hard for us to like worry about it too when we don't see anybody that we actually know have it.
And we're both still working, and so like take all my frustration with a grain of salt, because like really we do know that, you know, we're really lucky and that it's because of all these rules. Like even though the rules are making our lives like frustrating right now, you know, it's because of all those rules probably that COVID hasn't been worse and that like we haven't been more impacted by it. So I mean, like mostly, you know, we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm still going to work every day so that people can renovate their bathroom and paint their kitchen and put in new floors and like, you know, and now they've reopened the store again. So, you know, at work we have to deal with like, I don't know, like I probably deal with like 100 people a day in there. Like only 50 people can be in the store at a time, but that's still like 50 people. And meanwhile, we can't have more than 5 people at our wedding, even if it's only for half an hour, even if it's outside, even if everyone stands 6 feet apart, even if no one touches and we don't take pictures together. Well, except for us, but I mean, we live together, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
hard.
even
It's hard to
we can't like
understand
it's
them.
yeah. And if we do gather in more than 5 people, even if we're spaced out, even if we're outside, even if everyone wears gloves and a mask at the same time, it's $1,000 fine per person. If we get caught breaking the law. So that's, you know, but it's fine to go to work. Like we could get married in Walmart and that would be okay because there's allowed to be 50 people in the store at any time.
Yeah.
Including all the people that work there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like a bit hard to take seriously when like, well, shopping is okay. People can gather together to shopping, but you just can't gather together to have a wedding outside. No, that's not okay. That's not allowed.
And as things have progressed in the last 2 months, like at first I wanted to avoid as much media as possible. I mean, the first couple of days we were on our phones nonstop trying to research it and figure out where we were headed, where Canada was headed with it. And then I got to the point where I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to think about it. And then now we're like obsessively watching Doug Ford's updates because, you know, it's more about opening Ontario than it is about Canada and
things I never thought I would do or say. Like watching the clock so that I don't miss Doug Ford's live updates.
On my bike, you know, listening to Doug Ford's updates and getting very excited about the possibility of tomorrow because he's teased this week that there's maybe a big announcement coming tomorrow. We've seen things slowly open up, and I think as things have slowly opened up, we've become more okay with watching it and trying to figure out how it will help us as far as, you know, your full-time job as well as you know, our wedding and, you know, our things we enjoy.
Yeah.
Gun range, breweries, you know, even selfishly those things as well. So yeah, we're watching regularly every day, and we have been probably for the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And so tomorrow, May 15th, Doug Ford's supposed to make an announcement.
Wait, isn't it the 13th today?
Yeah. So tomorrow's May 14th.
Yeah, did you say 15?
I think I said 14. But maybe I said 15.
All right, 14 it is.
But tomorrow, not today. Today's the 13th, whatever tomorrow is.
Yeah.
He's supposed to make an announcement, and they had teased about maybe campgrounds and marinas and golf courses and the possibility of going from 5 to 10. So that's what the restrictions are right now is 5, and we're really hoping that it goes up to 10 because then that will, you know, allow us to actually have guests. Right now it's only 5, so that includes the officiant.
Yeah, 5. That's you, me, the officiant, which you can't have a virtual officiant here apparently. A photographer and a videographer, which, I mean, if we're gonna get married and only ever do it once, then those would be nice things to have. But then that's 5. That's it. That's our 5. So that's not our parents. That's not our siblings. That's not our best friend. Like that's So that's been really hard to grapple with. Like, do we want photos of our wedding or do we want to have literally anyone there?
Mm-hmm. And we've thought of ways to be creative about it because provincial parks are open. So if we're all 6 feet apart, does that count as, you know?
And like technically no, but like, yeah, again, if parks are open, like let's say like a local public park, none of the facilities are open. You can't touch any play structures or benches or anything, but like you're allowed to technically be in the park. And you're still not allowed to gather in groups more than 5, but kind of like Walmart, like just because you're all in the park doesn't mean you're gathering.
Yeah, I don't know how they define gathering. Just because you know people?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what if you just happen to run into people you know at the park, but you stay 6 feet away? Like,
I mean,
they can't really give you a fine for that, surely. So maybe we could do it in a park or something like that.
Yeah. Technically, we've only met the officiant once, so do we actually know her? Is she part of our gathering? I don't know. It's hard to know.
It's hard to know.
They're not clear.
We really don't want to risk getting these fines because it's like $1,000 a person, and we don't like we would risk if that was like the total fine, like if we get caught having our wedding and they're mad about it and the fine's $1,000, like that would be worth it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be, it's going to be $5,000 or well, I guess if it was 5 people, we wouldn't be breaking the law.
Yeah.
If it's like $10,000,
Yeah.
not that rich.
And mind you, we respect the rules and the restrictions, and they've got us to where we are now, where we're starting to reopen because of them. However, we just think it's ridiculous that I stood in Loblaws and there's 75 people in the produce section alone, and we can't have more than 5 people outside.
Following precautions.
Following the 6 feet social distancing, just in order to be able to get married. So that's what frustrates us the most, I think, of the whole thing. So
yeah, so it seems like, if one of these things is okay, then like surely the other thing is okay. Maybe even more okay, probably more okay. So we're kind of looking for a loophole kind of situation there.
Yeah.
Our backyard would probably be like a pretty obvious place to do it, but we weren't really planning on having a wedding there, so our backyard's like kind of trashed. So it'd be kind of a lot of work to get that in order. And also, yeah, like we're not allowed to have people over. But meanwhile, yeah, public parks are open, or provincial parks. So maybe we could go to Algonquin Park, which would be really beautiful for the photos. I was really, really excited about that idea. But it's a bit of a drive from here. So, after a 2-hour drive, and a half-hour ceremony, and then a 2-hour drive back, that's a long time to like literally not be able to use a bathroom anywhere. So that's, it's weird. Like weird things like that are like throwing our best plans to the garbage. And then we were really excited about doing it at my cottage. So that would also be really beautiful and like kind of sentimental. Like that would be really nice. I actually always wanted to get married there. But then they closed the borders, and it's like literally 1 minute on the Quebec side of the border. So that was that. Yeah. But maybe the borders are reopened now, so like maybe it's back on the table. But then I don't know, some like low key family, not really family drama, but my mom doesn't want to ask her cousins to like use their part of the property, which would be like the most ideal. Because she's afraid that like if we get fines, then they could get an even bigger fine, or I don't think that's very likely to go down that way, but.
Well, we've talked about other ways of being creative too about it, like going and signing the papers at our officiant's house, being officially married, one of our friends or family maybe actually doing the ceremony, maybe doing like a first look photos in the morning with our photographers. So then if we do those 2 things, then that takes the 3 people, 3 people out of it that are not friends and family that are really important for us to be there. We still get our photos. We still officially get married. But, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, are you going to wish that your dad was at your ceremony, or are you going to wish my sister was at the ceremony? Like, I think that's more important and so we're trying to figure out some way to balance that. So yeah,
it's like every time we think like, oh, this could work, it's like, well, I don't know, just like at this 5%, like nothing is ideal. Yeah. Like, we just haven't found an arrangement yet where we're like, yeah, that would be good. That like, it was easy to accept that we had to postpone the reception. It was easy to accept that we had to like totally change our vision of like how this was going to go down. But it's really hard to accept like not actually having an alternative. And like, yeah, like there's some options there, but like, I don't know. Like it has to be an option that we can actually like get behind and be excited about.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think whatever we have to do, like I will just accept it and be excited about it.
Yeah. And unlike other provinces, they haven't given firm dates. So other provinces have said May 4th.
Or even like literally anything specific. Yeah. It's not even like in the first phase, these things will happen. It's like in the first phase, we'll think about like vague things like reopening businesses.
Yeah. And so if we knew
what businesses
like, in like if they announced June 6th or June 19th or something like that we were able to,
or even like phase 1 is going to include at some point during phase 1, whenever that happens, increasing the gathering limit, or if that doesn't happen till phase 3, like I don't know,
then we'd be okay with switching our date to that date and giving up May 30th in order to we'd give up May 30th in order to get more people at our wedding, but there's no
but
dates.
What's the point in like waiting till we don't know when, like
we
don't really want to put it off. I mean, maybe it'll come to that and then we'll have to just accept that, but
Yeah, I think if he says tomorrow, like that on June 19th, you know, we allow 25 people, then maybe we say we push it back to then, you know, but
yeah, that might be worth it.
Yeah.
That would probably be worth it. But yeah, to postpone it, just hoping that might happen, doesn't seem as worth it, because who the hell knows what's going to happen.
And we're going to get creative, like, you know, for our friends and family that can't join us, that, you know, don't make the cut of the top 10, top 15 for obvious
that we're
reasons.
willing to pay fines for.
That we still care lots about and want them to be part of the day.
Yeah.
We'll probably use Zoom or something like that as a option to be able to still have people share in our day with us. We've seen some really cool things like that on YouTube, and
and like people just watching from their cars and stuff like that. Those would be really nice, like, additions too. But I think if that's like the only option, I'm not as excited about that being the only option.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's different in every place too, obviously, right? Like in the States, it seems like every town has its own rules, and obviously things have changed so much. So when you watch other people's videos on YouTube or whatever, or read about them in the news, it's depends when and where they happened, you know, what the rules were.
They're like, oh, we're so sad we had to cut our guest list to 50 people.
And we're just like wishing we could have more than 5.
If we could have 50 people, we wouldn't even be making this video.
Yeah. Although, I mean, if we were them, we'd feel the same. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like you got to think about like what's really important to you, and go with that. But it's hard. Like on the one hand, like it is kind of just about us. So if we had to just have our photographer and our officiant and us, like at the end of the day, like maybe that's what's really important. But I do feel like a marriage, like our marriage, like us getting married is just kind of about us. But like a wedding is about, like a wedding is a community thing too. Yeah. And like, you know, it's joining your families together and like, I don't know. I think it's a really important sort of social function that, you know, like reaffirms your relationships with all kinds of people and not just the person you're marrying. And it's hard to...
And the ideal situations is that my friends become your friends and your friends become my friends, and our families...
it all becomes sort of our family.
Our families spend time together because, as we know, there's nothing more important than family and close family, and, you know, you want to do whatever you can to make sure that you protect that. So.
Yeah, and like, you know, cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff too, like...
So...
Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like, family is really important to me, and there's a lot of people that are, like, really very important to me that I'm not, like, as close with on a day-to-day basis as I would ideally like. And I think, you know, having those people there to witness your wedding is, you know, like one of those important sort of life ways of, you know, reminding yourself and reminding them that, like, the high esteem that you hold them in, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and like how important those relationships are to you. So, I mean, I'm really glad that we're postponing the reception and not just canceling it, because I think that's important. And it is going to be weird that it's going to be so spaced out, but it's going to have some perks too, though, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a lot of, even though this is stressful, trying to figure out what the hell we're doing, I think in the long run, it's actually going to make the wedding a lot less stressful, because now we have a bit of extra time before the reception, and, you know, we'll get to have a whole day to focus on, like, just the ceremony and, like, the actual getting married, and then we'll get a whole day just to focus on, like, celebrating and partying, and I think it'll be kind of a, yay, we get to see people again, and also, like, yay, we got married.
Yeah, and we spread it out a lot more. Like, we still set the same time, even though we're not having a ceremony. So then we can have time to socialize with people and party longer and catch up with people. And hopefully we can have a limited amount of people there at that point. And it can even open the door for some people that weren't able to come in the first place. So
yeah, so I think we're going to, like, look back on this and be like, oh, like, it was kind of good that COVID happened. I mean, no, it's not good. Like, people have died. Like, that's serious. That's super shitty. I don't mean to make light of that, but I mean, maybe in a small way it will have, you know, we won't regret the impact it had on our wedding, hopefully.
Yeah. And I think that's really the purpose of doing this video is, even tomorrow things are going to change. Next week things are going to change, and we want to do another video tomorrow and talk about, you know, the impact of the announcement, if there is an announcement, hopefully, and, you know, and hopefully help other people out there. Maybe we'll put this up on some video sites and hopefully help other people. And
yeah, I mean, maybe it'll be some like solidarity, or like, depending on how it goes, possibly even some inspiration
yeah,
for other people. But also, like, this is a sort of a foundational like time in our life together.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, sort of a historic time in the world too, and
yeah,
that's all kind of like weird and interesting. So I think it would be nice to have this to like look back on.
our kids to look back on it in 20, 30 years and talk about COVID-19 and the year of the pandemic and murder hornets and
How weird our outfits were.
yeah.
How did you even dress like that, God? Not you. That's what it's gonna be like, though. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah, murder hornets.
Yeah.
I haven't even read about that. Like, that's...
Joe Exotic. Tiger King.
I'm not making any of that my problem right now. I'm not max capacity, thanks, so. Yeah, so, all that to say that basically we have no idea what we're doing still. And our wedding's in 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully tomorrow we'll get some news, some updates. Hopefully some good news that lets us find something that we can have as a plan that we can actually get excited about. Because yeah, like I keep thinking of it being like we're getting married.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. I spent a lot of my life thinking that I would like maybe never get married, and I always kind of wanted to. So I'm really happy that we're doing.
2 weeks away.
Yeah, so I feel it does sort of suck to be like having this like a frustration and uncertainty right now, like when I would otherwise just like be so excited and like so happy about it, and I still am, obviously, but I'm looking forward to like getting a plan of like what the hell we're gonna do, so that I can start like, you know, micromanaging it. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, so
See you tomorrow, hopefully with good news.